Welcome, new Peachburger agent. You are here because you have been selected for your skills, alien nature, or the fact that you are capable of mind control to be an antagonist on an enemy nanotransit station. This guide, rated by Peach Ager and Security, will teach you all about antagonism. Welcome to A Guide to Antagonism. Today's video is on dealing with your worst enemy, the thing that will stop you the most, the security team. We will go over how to deal with them, how to get away with crimes without their knowledge, and how to deal with them in a 1v1 situation. Let us begin. Firstly, subscribe so that you can see the rest of these guides when they are posted. Secondly, this guide will be assuming a couple things. 1. Security will be fully staffed with about 10 people, including a detective, a warden, and a head of security. We are also going to be assuming every member of command exists. This guide will be focused on the crew antags, Revs, Cindy's, Thieves, Vampires, and Changelings. Other antagonists, such as the Nukies, the Dragon, or even the Revenant, may find some use out of this guide as well, though. Firstly, let's go over the best way to defeat a security officer in 1v1 combat. Don't. I'll talk about how to actually fight a lone sec-off a little later, but for now, I want to use this to introduce a concept called heat. As an antagonist, most, if not all, of your actions will somehow tip security off to your presence. Obviously, a changeling eating a person and leaving their hollowed corpse will tip them off that changelings are about, and e-baggings will mean a Cindy or at least someone with a cryptographic sequencer is about. But there are minor things, like a changeling becoming another person might become a little obvious to anyone watching the tracking console. As such, the best way to avoid this is to consider your objectives, and if you can obtain them without either causing a lot of noise and making security aware that the thing even happened, or if you can create at least 20 other suspects, or another suspect in some way. Let me give you an example. I need the quartermaster's stupid little tablet thing. Now, I could just, run up to the quartermaster and stab them to death. Just shake them, they drop it, take it. Easy as. Here's the problem. I've already now informed, the entirety of the station that I am an antagonist, that I am an antagonist that's willing to go incredibly lethal, and that I'm just gonna keep killing. And there's no other possible suspect for this murder because 20 people saw it. Yeah, I don't think I'm lasting very long. I effectively can't show myself anywhere else anymore, or else I'm going to get reported because I did a killing. Now let's say I try something a little sneakier. I just walk up while he's busy yelling at his cargo technician for gambling again. I steal the thing off of him, say a quick quippy thing, and walk away. Congratulations! I've now created several suspects, including that cargo technician or anyone else the quartermaster's interacted with, and effectively, they can't know it was me and exclusively me unless the quartermaster is paying direct attention to me, which they likely aren't going to do. This also gives us a fair few other things. 1. I now have getaway time to stash the damn thing because it's not an if you get searched, it's a when you get searched. 2. I now have plausible deniability because anyone could have done this, so they're not gunning directly for me. They're not just jumping me in the hallways trying to search me. And I can say okay to a search. Ignore the contrary in my bag. Let's assume that I've stashed it. Although, we also avoid pissing off security, which is always good. Our sentence will be lenient. The only counter to this strategy is the detective, who is kind of the hard counter to any stealthy moves. We'll talk about him a fair bit later, because he's the hardest counter to anything stealthy. I really, really want to drill home this concept that going loud is never a good thing. Like, check out this clip. I am a revolutionary and a thief at the same time, which is actually a fascinating combination that allows me to do some very fun things. Now, I, of course, want a couple of things here. I don't take Hop's ID because that would be a little obvious. Instead, I take their backpack. Much harder to notice. And again, just like this, I'm able to take a normal-looking backpack, which Sekovs don't find weird because, you know, a guy holding a normal gray backpack is just... that's just what happens. That's normal. And with that, I get a disabler, I get Hop's ID, I get all this useful stuff that I could give to both myself because I need the stamps for my thief objectives, and to my head revolutionaries. With that, I have acquired soft all access, and they still have no idea there's revolutionaries, or that someone has even taken their backpack yet. They have no idea. They're still talking to this guy, to this new player at LOC. What a fool, right? Wrong. They don't know, and once they discover it, they'll have no idea. Seriously, I'm not even going to be a suspect. Going loud is almost universally guaranteed to get you hit. For our next concept, I'd like to talk about the Spy from Team Fortress 2. That is not a joke. You see, Spy actually has a lot in common with the next concept I want to talk about, which is chaos. Like, okay, check out this clip here, right? I'm going to go stab this scout, but he's too fast, so okay, the soldier is going for this Spy that just spammed the edgy. I stab him, attempt to make a clean getaway, I cloak out, and then this pyro, who has nothing else to focus on, then murders me. This is a perfect illustration of everything that happens. Let me run through it again in slow motion. See, it's a lot easier to get things done as Spy and as Antagonist in Space Station 14 if the people you're trying to do antagonistic stuff towards don't know that it's happening or are focused on something else. I was able to get the stab on this soldier entirely because he was focused on the other Spy that just stabbed the engineer. See, he was focused on the other Spy, he didn't see me. This pyro has nothing else to focus on besides spy checking. He's dedicated his entire existence to spy checking. And as such, the second he sees me, I kinda just immediately perish. The same concept applies to Space Station as well. If security is busy focused on other things, say a dragon, another antagonist making a lot of noise, or nukies even in some situations, they're not going to be focused on you yoinking the quartermaster's stupid tablet, are they? Like, here, let me give you an example. If there's no other audio and you're stuck focusing on exclusively my voice, very easy to see when I slur one of my words or check my scripts real quick and pause, right? But if I decide to leave the full audio on of Team Fortress 2 with all its goddamn noise, it's a little hard to understand what the hell I'm saying or what I'm supposed to be focusing on. Yeah, you can understand that? Getting back to the game that this is actually about, I'm gonna go over the chaos levels or whatever the hell. Pretty much, if there's a certain amount of stuff going on, you can get away with certain crimes not in direct view of a Sekov, and others in direct view of a Sekov. At 0, which is this level, you can get away with only the most minor of crimes, especially directly in front of a Sekov. Chaos level 1 is after some sort of antagonistic or annoying activity has taken place. Usually only the most minor of activities have taken place, like a Lig's body being discovered, or some sort of head objective being stolen, or just general shittery. You're likely to get away with some very minor crimes because Sek is a little busy focused on actual problems, you know? Level 2 takes place the second a bombing or any brazen murder takes place. Not in the direct aftermath of that, but a little later. Say some guy shoots a guy in broad daylight or someone bombs the medical bay, like always. Usually you can get away with a couple brazen crimes and people might ignore you trespassing into a couple areas, but you're still really likely to get arrested if you do something directly in front of a security officer. Level 3 takes place when security loses control of the halls and needs to pull out their lethals. Think Dragon, Lone Nuclear Operative, or a full team of nuclear operatives in some instances. And it's anything that makes them forcibly pull out the nuclear option and lethal any threat that approaches them. You can get away with pretty much whatever as long as it's not obvious. Use this to steal stuff off of dead heads of staff and security officers. Level 4 represents any brazen and obvious threat to the entire crew. Think an active nuclear team that's presently winning hard, a Tesla loose, Singulus, or anything that's making life on the station completely impossible for everyone. Security officers are likely to ignore almost anything you do, as long as it's not literally killing someone in front of them. You can get away with some insane stuff because the sec-offs are more concerned for their own survival than they are to stop you from doing whatever it is you're up to. Level 5 is exclusive to the nuclear disc being armed. Yeah, you could do whatever you want, but you're kind of dealing with an existential threat to the entire station that will forcibly make you lose. Unless you're a city with dying glorious death objective, then do whatever. But if not, you kind of have bigger fish to fry, right? Right? Anyways, with that out of the way, it's time to talk about the greatest counter to your existence as a stealthy boy, the detective himself. You see, the detective, if you've done like any stealthy thing and suddenly security magically knows, the detective's probably behind it. Detective has two tools, one of which is extremely powerful, one of which is complicated but simple. The forensic scanner is actually the complicated one, somehow. You scan things and you get three types of information from it. Fingerprints and glove prints. Glove prints I'll cover first. Glove prints show up on anything that you touch, and each glove has a unique print. I'm not going to give the specifics of which glove print is which because it really doesn't matter, but basically if you touch something while wearing a particular set of gloves, you'll leave your glove print on it. However, if you take off or use a different set of gloves, you can mimic the glove print. Just be careful when doing that because you leave fingerprints on things you touch with your bare hands, including gloves. So make sure you hide the glove you leave behind pretty damn well, and never ever break into something with bare hands. The detective is gonna easily figure out that it's you that did the break-in. DNA is the strongest of the three. Where glove prints tell you next to nothing, the DNA is conclusive evidence of pretty much anything. This is useful for implants, and especially if you find a syndicate implanter. So whenever you use an implanter, clean it, hide it well. This also applies to any attacked object. So let's say you beat someone up with a knife or a toolbox. A security officer finds you with that toolbox on you. The detective's gonna scan it, find the blood and the DNA evidence, and bring you for the crime because you can't really argue with someone wielding a toolbox that has the blood of the guy that just got toolboxed to death in Mainz, can you? Anyways, the next tool, which is actually the strongest of all the tools, is the log probe. Fun fact, any sec-off can use this, or anyone. It's just a thing you install the detective's PDA. It's pretty simple. If a door is touched by someone, including if it doesn't open, it leaves a log on pretty much everything that has access to anything. This includes doors, obviously, but it also includes more strange and non-specific stuff. For example, this actually includes the captain's thing. The captain's laser storage. That, yeah. It also includes the AI consoles. It also includes anything you can think of with access. APEs. If it's controlled by accesses,
then it's control, and then it can be lock probes. I don't know how to explain this. Apparently, it's a really difficult concept because I tried running this part of the script by like 5 different people, and they all didn't understand. So yeah, if it has access, it can be door locked. Easiest way to counter it is to just snip the log wire. Just snip the log wire to door, and it won't work. Or use someone else's ID or a fake ID. After all, the ID logger does not give a single crap whose ID it is, just that there's an ID.
If you need proof for how strong and actually kind of ridiculous door logs are in the hands of a competent detective, here's an example. I gave this felinoid a head start and told them to go anywhere they wanted, and that I tracked them down with the door logs. Gave them a fair bit of head start. Now let's see how long it takes for me to find them. As you can see, I could pretty reliably track down where this guy is. And I even told him to make it extra confusing. And he kind of accomplished it, because it took me a while to get a trail, but once I had it, there really wasn't much deviating from it. And that is the sheer power you have to learn to deal with when you're dealing with the detective. He can find you anywhere. Anyway, let us move on to how to actually defeat a Sekov. Tip 1, don't be alone. As you can see here, even though I'm resorting to my stun baton immediately, and they're attacking with just the simplest of punches and other melee weapons that are completely useless against me, I am still failing to arrest them. Now, obviously there are several things a Sekov can do in this situation, such as a stinger grenade, lethals, or other situations. However, even in a simple 2v1 situation, the stun baton is defeated. And I'd like to make this very, very clear. If you cannot defeat the stun baton, you do not have any chance of winning against a security officer. The disabler as well. A 3-hit / 4-hit at range stun cannot be defeated easily. If your gun can't defeat that, if your melee weapon can't defeat that, if whatever plan you have to take down a Sekov cannot defeat that, you need to instead cause a diversion and get away from the situation. Never try to fight a Sekov if their disabler or their stun baton are able to defeat you with ease. Let's go over a few scenarios in which the stun baton and disabler are actually not enough to stop a lone syndicate operative. For example, having the jump on the security officer in pretty much any situation will render an immediate victory. As you can see, I failed to get anywhere close to them before they're able to take me down with just the Viper. Another situation I could imagine being sort of a good idea is when you're disguised. As you can see, although I managed to chase this guy down because we're doing this for testing purposes, you can see that I have absolutely no way to track them down without them just getting away. And I can't report that, they were the person because they were wearing gloves and all that crap, and they can basically just get away scot-free as long as they injure me enough. And the only other time I think it's a good idea to fight a Sekov is if you have the baton. Which is only really possible if you slip the Sekov chasing you, but this is risky. Any Sekov worth their salt will just realize you're trying to slip them and immediately take the baton away and get out the disabler. Either way, as long as you can have some method of dealing with their stuns, you can probably take them out. But again, the best way to fight a Sekov is to just not fight a Sekov. And that's it. Obviously, there's going to be more specific things that you find through your gameplay and experimentation, but generally, the best way to deal with Sek is to just never make them aware of your presence at all, because there's 80 people at a station and they can't focus on all of them and investigate all of them at once. So the best method, in the end, is to just keep yourself hidden among the masses of 80 people and not make yourself an obvious target. Sorry this video took so long to come out. I have an idiot who refused to allow me to sleep, so it just kind of turned into this. I'd like to thank Wempus Warder, Phil Bantimo, Admiral Obvious, Loltart, Sather Lapin, and anyone else who has wished to become a channel member. You could do so down below, and if you leave a comment with any donation, it will also get added to the P Station project that I'm working on. And if you don't know what that is, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Anyway, that's the video. Bye!